The digital pivot. Are technology stocks likely to keep going up? That's going to be the topic of today's video. Hi everyone, so if you're an expat or a high net wealth individual in particular, go over to adamfayed.com and see how I can help you. Now on this video, I'm going to talk about the digital pivot. You know, technology stocks have done very well in the last 10 or 12 years since 2008, and obviously exceptionally well since COVID. Now, a lot of people are asking, are they overvalued? And there's kind of different arguments on different sides here. So one argument is we're using tech more than ever. And not only that, it's going to be here to stay, let's face it, right? In 20 or 30 years, we're going to use more tech than we are now. And the younger generation coming up, they're going to kind of live their whole lives on tech, which a lot of people are already doing. And technology is only going to get bigger. Like Facebook, for example, have announced, a huge groundbreaking technology where they're basically trying to make the internet into like 3D. So all those things like virtual reality, where maybe in the future or not so distant future, maybe, you can put on your goggles and essentially see what your friends are doing. You can meet people online in a different way, more interactive way than now. So there's always going to be new ways also to monetize technology. But another argument is that it looks overvalued now on a price to earnings basis. Now, for me personally, I think that technology is definitely here to stay. In 20 or 30 years, it wouldn't surprise me if the Nasdaq beats the S&P 500. Having said that, there'll be many dips also, because let's not forget, between 95 and today, the Nasdaq has easily beaten the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, but it fell by 76% between 2000 and 2002, about 50% during 2008, and also about 30 to 40% during the pandemic before it skyrocketed. So we always have to remember that even if technology does very well in the next 20 or 30 years, just as it did the last 20 or 30 years, it's actually a very volatile thing. It's more volatile than the average kind of stock market investment. So bear that in mind. I don't know what's going to happen in the next year or two. Obviously, if more and more countries keep opening up, some of those undervalued stocks like oil and gas, banks or whatever might outperform technology. Who knows? But in the long term, I think technology will do quite well, regardless of today's valuations, if you hold it very long term. That kind of leads me to the final thing as well. During my event next Tuesday with the Shark Tank judge, Kevin O'Leary, a part of the talk is going to be talking about the digital pivot. So he's noticed in his particular portfolio how some companies have gone to zero, other companies have pivoted dramatically. So we're also going to talk a little bit about tech stocks listed on the stock market, but also for private companies that aren't listed on the stock market, which kind of companies are doing well and which kind of companies are doing badly. So that's going to be a part of the talk, but we're also going to talk about other things as well. He actually himself was a former child of an expat. So a lot of people don't know that. He met Pol Pot in Cambodia and so on. So he's had a very interesting life, hasn't just lived in the US. So it's going to be very interesting. Let me know if you want to join. You can apply below. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.